Third up for us today, John Prinius, who is the Executive Chairman of St George Mining Limited. John is a founding shareholder of St George with over 30 years' experience in the resource, banking and legal sectors. Prior to establishing St George in 2010, he was the country head of Commerzbank in Sydney, overseeing numerous loans and loans to resource companies. Welcome, John.
Thank you, everyone. It's lovely to be here back in Perth. Okay, St George Mining. You've heard lots of statistics about the clean energy metals and demand, so I won't go into details, but I've just pulled out a slide from Benchmark Mineral Intelligence. A couple of weeks ago, they said we need another 50 nickel mines to meet net zero targets. So that's a phenomenal demand. Where is the supply coming from? There's only one way to meet the demand, and that is to have more investment in exploration and development. And the only way you're going to have that investment is to have a high incentive price. The price of the metal has to be high enough to get that investment. So Goldman Sachs hit the nail on the head recently with a report on the copper. They said you need $150 billion of investment in new copper projects if we're going to meet net zero targets. And that needs a copper price of $13,000 a tonne. We're about $7,000 now. So you can see certainly in the copper space a big increase coming. And the same thematic is going to play across all clean energy metals, nickel, lithium and whatnot. So it's going to be a great time going forward, the next decade or double decade, for mining companies and their shareholders. And that's great for St George because we have 4 projects here in Western Australia, all focused on clean energy metals, particularly nickel. Mount Alexander is our flagship project. That's where we've already got discoveries of high-grade nickel copper PGEs. And new targets are now ready to drill. And lithium prospectivity has also just been confirmed up there as well. The Patterson project up in the Patterson province, of course, that's prospective for gold, copper gold. We've just completed our maiden drill program, so assays pending there. And our 2 greenfields projects, both on the western Yilgarn, so after the Julimar discovery, of course, by Charles, everyone's looking for any projects that have been overlooked on the western Yilgarn. We found 2 that we really like, Ajana up at Geraldton, Northampton Mineral Block, and Broadview just south of Julimar. Quick corporate snapshot. The 2 key points for you on this slide are our market capitalisation. So we're about $24 million. I think that's very cheap. If any of our exploration plays come to fruition, we're going to be a multiple of that. For example, Red Dirt Metals has the lithium project just down the road from us. They're about $200 million of market cap. We're going to be drilling our lithium targets at the end of this month. If we have some success, I can see us closing that valuation gap very quickly. The other key point from this slide is our technical team. We're all about exploration and discovery. So that really is down to our technical team. Julian Hanna and Charles Wilkinson, you probably all know of, both gentlemen at Western Areas when that company made discoveries and became #1 independent nickel producer in Australia. And Dave Mahone is our younger exploration manager, also cut his teeth at Western Areas. So we've got a very good technical team with a track record of success in the nickel space. So Mount Alexander, it's our flagship project. We're just southwest of the main nickel projects of BHP and now IGO with the Cosmos project. So we're an established nickel address. And we also have these great lithium projects close to us as well. Red Dirt's Mount Ida project and up the road, Liontown's Kathleen Valley project. So really good address for both nickel and lithium, established mining region. We're not in the middle of the desert where we have to come up with $300 million of infrastructure. There's existing infrastructure we can tap into and a clear pathway to the market. You probably all know of our great discoveries out there already. High grade, fresh nickel copper sulfides at shallow depths. It basically starts 20-30 metres below surface. We found 4 key discoveries across 5.5 kilometres. They don't unfortunately bulk out to big deposits. We haven't drilled them out completely and hopefully we can actually monetize them because they are so high grade and shallow. But the trick is to find the big deposit. We want to find the mother lode. So we've stepped back a little bit and tried to focus on some of the underexplored and unexplored areas of the Mount Alexander project. Geophysics is the key tool, seismic survey to map the host structures, and EM surveys to try and light up those conductive bodies that could be nickel sulfide targets. One area that's really started to deliver the goods is the granite greenstone contact. Any of you familiar with Forestania and the Western Areas discoveries will immediately see the resemblance there. So the granite greenstone contact, the deposits, if they're there, are blind because there's 200 metres of granite covering them. The seismic is telling us there's a very big reflector down there. It's a little bit too deep, we think, to be picked up by the EM, but there's certainly something down there. It's as a minimum, the greenstone, it could have mineralisation in there as well. And the EM has been picking up some 5 EM targets. One in particular stands out as a high priority nickel target. We saw it in the moving loop EM. We've just completed the fixed loop EM. We announced those results today. It's been upgraded, this target. It was 3,000 Siemens, now it's 7,650 Siemens. It's 200 by 400 metre in dimension, so it's got large scale to it. It's 200 metres below granite. That's why you haven't seen it before. So we'll be going to drill that hopefully early November. Lithium potential out there as well. Red Dirt announced they've got a new mineral province there at Mount Ida. So we had a look at our ground, and lo and behold, that Goldilocks corridor adjoining the Copperfield granite goes straight up into our ground as well. It's not just us out there. It's Zenith Minerals has got a nice little tenement out there as well, which they're exploring in joint venture with EV Metals. And Hancock Prospecting has joined Hawthorn Resources and doing a bit of exploration out there as well. So it's becoming a bit of a lithium hotspot. Our lithium has had early success. We have confirmed lithium in the form of spodumene and lepidolite. We're still waiting for the assays for the rock chip samples. They should be out next week. So a great opportunity there to advance a lithium project. We'll be drilling that at the end of the month. Some rock samples out there. The Patterson project, Patterson province, so a great position. Our neighbours, Sipa and Tipper, already have big joint ventures with Rio Tinto. We've just completed our first drill program. Lots of brecciation, hydrothermal fluids, a little bit of chalcopyrite, lots of sulfides. So the right kind of rocks to prove that there has been a mineralising process on our ground. Still waiting on the assays to confirm whether we've jagged any high-grade mineralisation. As a minimum, we have confirmed that there is a mineralising process on our ground, so a great area to keep exploring. Back on the nickel front, these 2 new early stage projects that we've created. The Ajana project, just up near Geraldton. Lots of base metal mines up here in this mineral block. They were discovered by the old timers through outcrop, so base metals, we're talking about lead, copper, zinc. Our ground has got about 20-30 metres of sand cover. That's where it was never touched by the old timers. Too hard for them. But of course, modern geophysics, 20-30 metres of sand cover is nothing. We have flown airborne mag, and we've confirmed a very, very interesting magnetic feature. Our modelling so far suggests that this could be a layered mafic intrusion, and that could certainly be prospective for nickel copper sulfides of a Nova Bollinger type or a Julema chalice-like. Hopefully we'll be on the ground drilling that. That's got farmland on the top of it, so we're signing up access agreements with the farmers, but already signed a few, so we know we're going to be able to drill once the crops have been taken. Similarly at Broadview, that is also Western Yilgarn, just south of Julema. Impact Minerals and Anglo have already pegged big pieces of ground there. We decided we'd liked a little bit of ground there as well. Our airborne mags there have also confirmed these very strong magnetic features, which we interpret to be potentially intrusions, which could be prospective for nickel copper PGEs. Again, farmers over here, so we're in there talking to them, getting access agreements. But if all goes well, we'll be on the ground drilling these by the end of the year or latest early next year. So lots of drilling still to go for the rest of the year. We had to slow down a little bit the drilling programs just to do the homework and get these targets proved up. But the nickel target is just screaming to be drilled, and our lithium is going to be really easy to drill out these pegmatites which are expressed at surface. So there'll be diamond drilling for the nickel targets. Nothing more exciting than a nickel sulfide discovery, get the heart racing. And lithium targets will be drilled with some RC drilling. That should all start by the end of this month. Patterson drilling was being completed, waiting for the assays, hopefully next couple of weeks. We've all had to be patient with those. And then our early stage projects at Ajana and Broadview, or anything will come out of those when we start drilling. So thank you very much. That's the project and our presentation. Thank you.